When you are working a job, that's for some people. It's not for me. To me, that's just a different form of tyranny because people are telling you what to do. I'm vehemently against that. Some people love it. Some people are fine with that. That's great. We need both people in the world. So that's fine. I'm just totally against it myself, my personality. So to me, it represents freedom. Like you said, getting on the right side of the game. 10 years ago, I'm seeing this crash. I'm seeing these things happen. 9 months ago in March 2020, you're seeing these things happen. People getting bailed out. And you're like, man, like there's a game being played. I need to figure this game out. Well, one of those ways is real estate. Real estate is probably, again, we're probably a little bit biased, but I think it's the best way to do that. You go buy stocks, you get certain advantages, but you don't get depreciation, buying stocks. You don't get all these advantages.
Or leverage, which is the biggest thing. That's what I tell people. If you look at the banks, they accrue the smartest people in the world. It's certainly, the smartest, yes. Financial scientists in the world. And the only thing they leverage on a fixed rate, for long term is real estate. You can't get a 30-year mortgage on a stock, right? And so, yeah, to your point.
Yep. No, exactly. I mean, there's very little room you have to operate. Like you might be able to use margin, but like you said, the people that are generally using margin in stocks are those, the elites. They're the ones that get to use that generally, So you have all the advantages. You have the really the four different, looking at the income statement, the balance sheet, you've got depreciation, you've got cash flow, you've got amortization and depreciation, and then I think the other one now. But anyway, you have all these ways you can make money and turn the game, like you said, become your bank and start printing your own money. You're now having someone pay down your asset and in giving you money that you're not working for, but also giving you tax advantages, being able to shelter things off of other income you're making that you couldn't otherwise, where you just can't do that as an employee. So that's something where that's what it represents to me. It represents really the best of all worlds. I think all asset classes, I'm a big believer in diversifying in asset classes, though. I mean, the Wall Street tells you diversify, but it's just, have an ETF and have a mutual fund and have stocks, bond, and mutual funds. Well, that's just one asset class. True diversification is having some stuff in different asset classes, whether it's business, real estate, paper, or commodities. Maybe you can throw cryptos and possibly a new asset class there, but like having your money in different places is really different asset classes is true diversification. So that's what it represents to me. It's being out of the system. And I think, I mentioned it earlier, but removing yourself from the matrix and unplugging, that is truly what it is to me. Not being told what I can or can't do. If you're owning real estate and you have, 1,000 units or 100 units or 10 units and you're living your life and you got 10,000 a month in passive income coming in, well, no one's telling you what you can or can't do. You can go do whatever you want. You're not worried about getting fired from your job or things like that, right? So it's you are in control of your destiny. You have all the advantages. The governments really all around the world want you to own real estate. Obviously, they need housing. They're not good in the area of housing, obviously. So they need people like all of us to go own real estate and take care of it. So they give us incentives to do that. So to me, at the end of the day, it's really about freedom. That's what real estate represents.
Yeah, and there's a power of decision making with it too. I think that's one of the bigger things. As we talk to a lot of people that house hack through coronavirus, everything we've dealt with as a country in the last year. There's a power in the fact that most people that house hack, they weren't worried as much because they didn't have a mortgage to pay. Right, their tenants had paid the mortgage, and there's a freeing sense to that. The mindset that you go into, you make different decisions. Maybe you leave your job earlier. Maybe you get into different asset classes because you have the capital to be able to do that. So there's just such a freeing aspect to it, and that's why I love how much you touch on kind of the mental freedom that most people don't touch on in the community, and I think that's why it's such an important message.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's fun. It's a great point, Brad, because honestly, it's something that it truly is freedom, and we kind of lightly touch on. I kind of lightly touch on it there, but that's what it is to me. Like real estate's real estate. Like I love real estate, but it's not like, oh, I'm not out there hugging the vinyl siding over here and like, wow, I really love real estate. There's some people like that, but to me, it's all about freedom. It's what it gives you. What does real estate give you? And that's what none of us are out there. You're not at a job necessarily, and some people are. But some people are out there because they absolutely love to work and they hate being with their family. Well, that's fine, and they're doing that. But most people, they want freedom. Like people talk about. I think when I was younger, I think a lot of us probably have gone through this or will go through this in their life. When you're younger, it's like, how do I make money? How do I do these things? And you want all this money. You want to be wealthy. You want to be rich, all these things. But what you realize when you get older, and at least for me, I'm guessing a lot of people kind of sense this or have gone through this, which is it's about freedom. It's not actually about money. It's not actually about, making the almighty dollar or bringing in more currency. It's about freedom. If you had $5,000 a month in passive income, or if you had 5 million, but you're free either way, you're going to feel pretty dang good. You're going to feel pretty amazing when you, like you are touched on, like you have the freedom to do what you want when you want. That's the difference. And that's what you start realizing. It's not about, oh, I love real estate. I just love vinyl siding and I love putting on roofs and stuff like that. Like, yeah, there's some people like doing that, but for the most part, most of us are in this because you want freedom. And that's like the dirty little secret that no one talks about. And that's truly what real estate represents.
And the interesting thing, you and I are agents. And so, to touch further on like real estate, it amazes me how many really good agents who have been agents for a really long time, it takes them a really long time to figure that out, right? And they'll come to someone like yourself and say, man, I wish I would have actually invested in real estate rather than just continue to go from 100,000 to 200,000 to 300,000 a year. But never actually, that didn't actually do anything for them. They made more money. And, that's another thing I touch on with people that want to make career changes. Career change is fine. And I mean, there's things that people really want to do it for, great reasons. But also the thing that real estate represents is freedom, right? And so what you have to train yourself is that monthly cash flow far exceeds, making an extra 100,000 or whatever that looks like. And so many people aren't able to balance those two thoughts.